Hi, this is Jonathan here, and in this video we're going to be talking a little bit about how arrays work in C#. And this question was inspired by a question actually here on the Udemy discussion forums, Learn to Code by Making Games by Damien. And this, I'll put a link to this question in the video description, but the gist of it is asking about how arrays are declared, when they're declared, how Unity and how C# understands what their length is. So in the question, Damien is asking, in this method here, void handle hits, how does this part here work? Int max hits equals hit sprites dot length plus 1. He's asking if we don't actually get to know what the length of the array is over here until we use this void to load sprites. How is Unity, or how is C# MonoDevelop figuring it out earlier in the code? Well, this is because we're not actually getting the length of the array over here in the void load sprites. Where we're determining the length of the array is at the very top where it's declared over here, public sprite hit sprites. And this is how you declare a sprite, by the way. You just type whether it's public or private, then you type a sprite, just like you would declare any other sprite. You give it a name, but it's these square brackets here that determine whether or not it is an array. And you can use these square brackets after anything. I could put this here after audio clip and make an audio clip array. I could put it after int and make an int array. I could put it after game object and make a game object array. And by default, the value of a declared integer that we don't specify otherwise is always set to 0. So this is a sprite array with a value of 0. However, because it's public, we can override that value in the inspector. So if you look over here on the right side, under the bricks, we can see this hit sprite array, and here we are overriding the value. Now in this case, I'm looking at a yellow brick, which its value is still 0, which means in this game's case, you hit a yellow brick, and that brick dies in one hit. But if I look at a green brick, that size is now 1. And when the size of our array is 1, we can see it has an element 0, and that has a different hit sprite in it. So let's go back and look at the code. Knowing now that the initial value of our sprite array is declared up here at the top, and it's overridden in the inspector because it's set to public, we know that by the time it's actually, we're going back to this handle hits method, it already knows the length. It doesn't have to ask what the length of the array is. It already knows it because it's already been told right from the get-go. So what this is actually doing is it's determining how many hits a particular brick has before it dies. So in this case, we're taking the length of the array and adding 1 to it. So that means in the case of a yellow brick which has a length of 0 adds 1, so its max hits is 1. It dies after 1 hit. And if we hit it, we can see it dies in 1 hit. And the same can be said for the green brick. We know its length over here in the right side is 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, which means that it dies in 2 hits. So 1, and we can see it's changing every time it gets hit, and then if it gets hit a second time, it dies. So that is where this load sprites comes into play. This load sprites is not determining the length of the array, it's just changing the type of sprite that's being used. So it is accessing the sprite index, and it is changing the type of brick from a fully intact one, a brick with full health, to a brick with slightly less health. And it's doing that by loading the next sprite in the array, which is the slightly damaged sprite. So in the green brick's case, again, that's 1 plus 1 equals 2. And if we go to our second level in this game, we'll see that we have a third brick, a red brick. And that has an array size of 2. So 2 plus 1 is 3. The red brick dies after 3 hits. So I could end it right here, but I'm just going to carry on for just a little second more. And I'm going to use an example here. So if you're confused still about what an array is, take a look at something like an empty beer case or a full beer case. And I'm just going to Google image search. Well, take a look at this first image. Just assume an array is like a beer case, and all these beer bottles are the values within that array. So each of these spots for a beer bottle is the length of the array, and the beer bottles are the values contained within. And you can take the beer bottles out, you can put them in. The only difference here is that a beer case is pretty much limited to 24 or so spots, but the array can go on for whatever you want its length to be. So I hope that clears it up. I hope that makes sense and kind of explains what an array is and how it works. If you have any questions, please let me know. But thank you for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and hopefully subscribe. Thanks very much. See you next time.